Yo, what's up? Welcome to today's live stream. I'm him. Okay, yeah, I'm him. Today is Thursday. Oh shit, it's Thursday. Why? Oh my gosh, time is moving by quickly. It's Thursday the 28th. Man, the month is almost over. That's actually that's pretty interesting. Seems like the month is already going. One thing I'm thinking about doing is I want to create a soundboard, kinda. Right now, I use my Stream Deck like that. But what I'm thinking about is like creating a new project essentially on here, or maybe on that. I don't know where I'm going to do it, but on one of the NPCs. That way, I can like tap my pads and have cool effects or cool sounds or whatever going through the stream every so often. All right. What am I doing? Where's my screen? There we go. All right. Cool. I think everything is set up. I needed to make sure that sound was going through my NPC and I can hear it. Oh, I need to make sure it's not too loud too. Let me do that so I don't scare others. All right, cool. Well, all right. I just want to make sure that when I do eventually, if I start playing around with building out my soundboard, so I don't have to use my Stream Deck, I want to make sure it's not too loud. I don't know if I'm going to do that now because I have some videos that I want to watch. So let's just jump into the stream. I have some videos that I put on my watch later list last night before I did the last stream, as well as a few minutes ago. I just got back home from a meeting. It ran a little bit late. I don't think I got back until like 7:45. But yeah, I want to go through some stuff. So let's just go through it. Let me close that. Huh, where's my browser? What the fuck? Where's my browser? Where's my browser? Where the hell is my browser? Oh, here we go. All right. There we go. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's go to YouTube. And I have a playlist. Where is it at? Playlist. Watch later. Here we are. Okay. I should probably start removing these from the watch later list after let me remove some of these things. I'm gonna have to do a better job of managing this. She's blamed. Okay, we went through this, so we'll remove that. How things work behind the process. Okay, so I think we're going to watch this one. Let me grab a link so you all can go and subscribe to them if you like, or just go give them some support. Where is the thing? Here we are. All right, let's get into this.
Quitting, I'm leaving, this isn't sustainable, I need another job.
They say they hold the kids accountable, but they go to the office and they come back and they do the same thing.
Have been hit, punched.
Crazy, entitled.
Oh, yo, what's up, casual economists? I assume that no one's going to show up for the first hour. That's generally how these things go. But I appreciate that you're here. If you have some thoughts or things you want discussed, or topics, just say it. But in the meantime, I'm going to be reacting to stuff. Mostly yapping. Less reacting, more yapping.
Acting like they can say whatever they want to adults or whatever.
The students knowing that they can break the rules, the work just keeps being added on and on. We need our administrators to have our backs.
Whether your health or staying for the kids is worth it.
Like, no wonder I left teaching.
This weekend's deep dive is going to be another theory-driven discussion about two very similar and overlapping social phenomena that produce the same outcomes, but with very different public responses. And the reason this analogy that I'm about to break down works so well is because 75 to 80% of the teaching profession is women. These female teachers are explaining, in real time, why...
Before he gets into it, given that I don't want to just jack all this content, I have watched the first part of this. His framing for this comparison is incredible, in my opinion. He is comparing teachers who quit to men who quit, and he's making the argument that the reason behind it, what's driving it, is the same underlying issues. And the reason why he's trying to relate it back to teaching is he's saying that a lot of teachers are females, so they should understand. Basically, he's trying to give them an example that they would understand. Anyway, that's my understanding from his framing. I added this obviously because I watched this first part to set up, and I was like, oh yeah, this could be a cool thing to get into, to see what he has to say. So let's see what he has to say.
Even classrooms, and their explanations keep circling around the same themes: being disrespected, lack of support, and expectations to continue caring in a career that no longer gives them the authority to actually do their job.
I want to go back into what did he say?
Being disrespected.
They're disrespected. Okay.
Lack of support.
Lack of support. Okay.
Expectations to continue caring in a career that no longer gives them the authority to actually do their job.
Okay, so the expectation to continue caring without having the authority to do their jobs. Okay.
So what I'm going to do here is use the teacher quitting trend as a reflection of what men experience relative to women and relationships. Once we connect the dots, it becomes very hard to not notice the overlap with what many men describe in dating, relationships, marriage, and family life. Now, to make sense of that overlap, I'll be putting up this graphic overlay throughout with directional arrows and other...
All right, let's take a minute to decipher what's in this framework. Same pressure, different system. Teaching context versus men relationship context. First column, we have role function. Middle column, teaching context. And the rightmost column is men's relationship context. So we have the role/function along with the context for the two categories of people we're talking about, men, teachers. So for the role/function, the responsible party. In the teaching context, that's the teacher. And relationship context, that's men. The role function for boundary pushing behavior, and in the teacher context, that's the student, child, and parent behavior. Whereas for men, that's women's relationship behavior. The support system for teaching is the education system and admins, whereas for men, it's society at large. And the common outcome part that they're talking about is teachers quit for teachers and men check out. So he's trying to align these two things that we would assume are unrelated, and he's drawing a line to show, hey, these two things are actually connected. And by the way, when you do a deeper analysis, of why these things are happening. Oh, by the way, we realized that the same underlying issue is behind both. But obviously they manifest themselves in different ways because, obviously the people involved are different, right? Like teachers and men, like, they're different, right? So of course. Okay, I guess it's not gonna play. Okay,
to help follow along. I'll also be discussing a few basic concepts from psychology and sociology, like role strain, learned helplessness, and operant conditioning, and how all of those help explain what leads to teachers and men to quit. I'll also discuss what it means for men more in my commentary. But for those of you who just want the quick and dirty, the basic lesson is this. Men should recognize the pattern earlier and stop waiting for women or society to validate their experiences. My goal is to help you recognize a pattern and then to expose that pattern when men and women experience similar situations in which they've had enough and they've decided to walk away.
All right, so
the public response, as I mentioned, is very different.
That's the key part right there. If I can get it to fucking part, that's the key part right there, right? And I'll rewind it just so we can.
And then to expose what the quick and dirty, the basic lesson is this. Men should recognize the pattern earlier and stop waiting for women or society to validate their experiences. My goal is to help you recognize a pattern and then to expose that pattern when men and women experience similar situations in which they've had enough and they've decided to walk away.
So that's the key, right? That's the common denominator. Both sides, at some point, they have enough and they walk away. For teachers, they quit because that's what you could do with a job. That's not all. That's really all you could do. For men, they just say fuck it. Seriously though? Oh my gosh.
The public response, as I mentioned, is very different. So let's start with this. Teachers are not quitting because the job is hard. It may be easy to simply state that teachers are leaving because teaching is difficult, but teaching has always been difficult. More recently, the deeper issue is that teaching has become difficult in a way that strips those teachers of the conditions needed to do their jobs. Their comments are about disrespect in the classroom, lack of kids' boundaries.
Bro, I don't understand what's up with my keyboard. It's pissing me off. What the hell is going on?
It's emotion.
Okay, there we are. I want to say something.
Their comments are about disrespect in the classroom, lack of kids' boundaries, difficult. More recently, the deeper issue is that teaching has become difficult in a way that strips those teachers of the conditions needed to do their jobs.
That part right there, okay? What that sounds like to me is responsibility without authority. I fail to understand how someone can be both responsible for something while at the same time not, like, they have no authority over the thing that they're supposedly responsible for. So I understand that framing. It's a really good framing, I think.
Their comments are about disrespect in the classroom, lack of kids' boundaries, kids' emotional and physical outbursts, lack of consequences, and overload by being expected to do too much. Examples they give include students talking back or refusing to follow directions. There's no discipline in the home, they say.
That's been happening a lot. A lot of teachers are quitting. I'm assuming that's why he's making this comparison. But yeah, it starts in the home. And for whatever reason, teachers are expected to just deal with the poor behavior of these children. And you can't really hold the children accountable. You can't really blame the parents, although you should blame the parents. They feel like they can't do it. And what that's doing is that's driving them to quit. And that makes sense to me. That's logical, right? If you make someone's life difficult or hard or more stressful than it needs to be, it makes sense that maybe they would look to quit. Now, in one context, for the teachers go to work and they get paid. For the men, I don't think men get paid to basically hold their relationship. Like when I had mine, I didn't get paid. In fact, it cost me money to have a relationship. So that is a big difference. For men, we have to pay for the privilege of a relationship. So like we pay a cost, and we still don't get much. Now, teachers, they get a salary along with benefits, like they get the summers off and all that other kind of stuff, and they're still quitting. That should say something. It should. I don't know if it does, but it should say something.
The children, students are being physically abusive to teachers, and it all takes up so much of their time with behavior management that actual teaching is constantly interrupted. So they're no longer just teaching. Now they're also expected to discipline, to regulate kids' emotions, to document behaviors, answer to unruly parents.
What I'm hearing is that list of things, the requirements. That's what I'm hearing. Like there's this long laundry list of requirements that a person must meet before they're willing to give them the time of the day. What he's describing, that's what I'm thinking is, oh yeah, that relates to this thing on the man's side. That's why I'm saying this is a good framing. Oh, come on now.
Satisfy administrators' requirements, meet testing demands, all while protecting the learning environment and taking responsibility when any part of the system fails. And that is a perfect example of role strain. As shown here in this article that I recently found, I think it's just from 2025, role strain is the continued negative outcomes that occur when expectations within a role become too numerous, conflicting, or difficult to fulfill. Sociologists have studied this for decades.
Is that the same thing as standards are too high? Let's read what they have to say here. So themes, description, role overload, role conflict, failed role bargaining, role prioritization, and role price. I guess these descriptions are describing what these things are. So role overload, excessive cognitive, emotional, and temporal demands. That's time demands. No. Role conflict, tension between specialist and generalist roles. Failed role bargaining, and inability to protect personal roles. Role prioritization, forced prioritization of certain subjects. Role price, emotional, ethical, and professional costs. Understanding the dynamics of out-of-field teaching, a phenomenal inquiry grounded in Goods role strain theory. Oh, role strain theory. Okay, Goods role strain theory. Gotcha. I've never heard of this role strain theory. Maybe he's going to describe it.
Difficult to fulfill. Sociologists have studied this for decades, starting with William J. Goods' work.
You know, William is an excellent name. I trust this man. I have not met a William who wasn't smart as fuck and articulate as fuck and also fairly well off. But to be fair, the only other William I know is my father.
Which argued that people have limited time, energy, and emotional resources. So roles become stressful when demands exceed what a person can realistically manage. And that's one of the major reasons that teachers are quitting. So let's bridge this to men in relationships. Just like teachers, men aren't simply checking out because relationships are hard. They know that relationships require effort, sacrifice, communication, and compromise.
That is true. I understood this at a very young age, but for whatever reason, my opposites who are supposedly more mature than me and supposedly more emotionally intelligent than me, they did not understand that fact, that any relationship is going to require work and the grass is always greener where you water it. It's interesting that, I mean, as far as I know, and I know enough, neither of my main exes, I have a few, but like I only count two. Neither of them have actually achieved the things that I guess they assumed they would achieve. Maybe, I don't know, unless just getting older and ran through is an achievement. It could be, I don't know.
But they're checking out because of excessive demands. It's an inability to protect their autonomy and boundaries and to prioritize their limited resources. For example, when he's told to communicate better after he's already explained a simple boundary 10 times, or maybe he's expected to keep providing resources that involve his limited finances or his limited time, while his own concerns are treated as insecurity, selfishness, or emotional incompetence. So
yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure how much experience you all have, but I remember, this is when I was younger, back when I had the kind of job where it was a normal type of job. It was a normal kind of job. I wasn't really paid that well. It was like $80,000, $90,000, whatever, at that time. And, I had to go into an office. I had to commute and all that kind of stuff. And I noticed something after about a year or so, or 2 years, after we moved to Houston from where we were living. I noticed that whenever we needed to talk, it was always her. We need to talk. And it was always late at night. And it was always during the weekday when I had to wake up in the morning at 6 a.m. so that I can get ready, so I can go to work and have a full work day, working until 5 or 6. For whatever reason, it was always the most inconvenient time, and it just had to happen on her schedule. But flip the role if I want to do anything. Nah, can't do that. It's not a good time right now. It always rubbed me the wrong way because I've always been the kind of person where I treat people the way that I expect to be treated. And I'm using the word expect. God, I can't even think of the word. I just lost my train of thought. I'm using that deliberately. The word expect. Like, if I expect people to treat me the way that I treat them, right? It's not like a hope. And I can take that a certain kind of way. I take it as a form of disrespect if you do not treat me the way that I treat you, because I know how poorly I can treat people if I want to. It's a choice to treat someone well. So when I choose to treat someone well, which is generally all the time, I expect the same thing to be extended to me. Because if we were to go into a competition, a confrontation where we're going to like compete who can hurt one another the most, whether it be physically, emotionally, spiritually, I am willing to put at least 100 G's on me destroying the other person. It's how confident in my abilities I am to completely wreck someone. There's some history. Let's just say I wasn't always this type of person. I used to be, I used to use my tongue for other things.
Person here is that teachers and men alike are placed in
No
roles
pause.
with
No pause on
responsibilities and
that.
demands
I didn't use my tongue for those kind of things. I'm talking about words, rhetoric.
which expectations remain high, but the patience and ability to fulfill those expectations continue to diminish. Let's move on here to collapse of authority. Classroom authority vanishes because the larger education system doesn't fully support teachers' efforts. As women are keen to post online, teachers describe parents working against them instead of with them. They describe parents questioning the teachers' reactions instead of their own children's behaviors.
I've seen that firsthand, and I am not a teacher, but I've seen that firsthand from when I was in school. How certain people, like, I don't understand the parents really. It's almost like it's not almost, they are doing their children a disservice, but I guess they don't have the foresight to understand that.
They also describe parents actively challenging grades and discipline. And in addition, administrators are reportedly excusing student behavior, failing to support teachers, and even undermining teachers when problem children are referred for discipline issues. And that's the collapse of authority. A teacher can be told 6 ways to Sunday to maintain her classroom's order or to reduce chaos in the hallways. But if teachers are refused authority and administrators reject consequences, then she has no control over outcomes. Which brings us to learn help.
And honestly, that's one reason why someone would quit or walk away from a situation. Once they realize and understand that they have no control over the situation, of course they're going to detach. It's just like, it's obvious. How many people are willing to do anything where like at every moment, everything is going against them? And it's not like teachers are paid well to kind of, deal with the bullshit. It's not like other jobs where, they kind of suck at times, but you get paid well enough to where it's like, all right, well, shit, like, it's a give and take with everything, right? Some things are going to be easy. Some things are going to be hard. Are we doing this again? Seriously, is it not gonna? What is up with YouTube today? Yo, what's up, Delatrition? I assume this is from Twitch. I didn't even know I was still streaming to Twitch, so I'm happy to have you here. I'm assuming you're the only person on Twitch. I basically all but abandoned Twitch, but I guess it must have just, I don't know. Welcome to the live stream. I'm Will. You can talk about whatever. Oh, this is Danush. Okay, all right. Well, I know who you are. Never mind. Yeah, well, I kind of abandoned Twitch. I still stream there. You can watch me there, but just, I don't know if it really makes a difference. You can see all of my messages, my chat messages. So I'll say hi for you just so you can see what it looks like. You should see that it comes from YouTube, I think.
This is a pattern that develops when people repeatedly experience.
All right, before he goes into his spiel, let's read this. So learned helplessness. I already know what this is, and I assume that maybe some of you do as well, but we're going to reiterate because it's live streams. People can come back to this in the future. So uncontrollable bad events, perceived lack of control, and then generalized helpless behavior, and it leads to. All right, anyway, so learned helplessness, the definition, the passive resignation produced by repeated exposure to negative events that are perceived to be unavoidable. We can't change the course of negative events. Failure is inevitable and insurmountable. Learned helplessness is about responses to failure, not to success. Learned helplessness, a control problem, not a competence problem. I think that's a very good definition, and I like the fact that at the very bottom, I don't know if this is him, but someone is distinguishing between like control and competence and trying to put it into a category or box. And helplessness is a control problem. It comes from a lack of control. All right, well, actually, it says, my bad, it literally said, or perceives a lack of control.
That their effort does not change outcomes.
Right now,
so eventually
I'm streaming on Twitch and YouTube. Although the tool that I use, I set up to stream to Kick. What's that other one? LinkedIn. Actually, I could just look at my settings. I'm over here trying to remember shit. Let me just look at my settings right quick. Give me a moment. Yeah. It's just right now. It's just YouTube. I must have deleted LinkedIn. So it's just YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. But I'm not streaming to Kick right now. It's just YouTube and Twitch at the moment.
For example, Martin Seligman's research connected learned helplessness to personal characterizations such as motivation, control, depression, and ways in which people respond when they don't believe that outcomes can be influenced by their own behavior. And the same pattern often happens to men when society tells them that they're responsible for making relationships work, but also gives them little support when they call out women's disrespect, boundary violations, and unrealistic expectations. What we hear regarding men is that they're mean and toxic. They care too little and they're doing the bare minimum. Instead of understanding or acknowledging.
I love what he said. Men are doing the bare minimum. That's said as if that's a bad thing because women are not even doing the bare minimum. Bare minimum, cook and clean, have a kid, bare minimum. That's the bare minimum. For if the bare minimum for a man is to go out and work, provide security, provide leadership and structure, like that's the bare minimum. So it's like, how are you going to call something? Like, how are you going to try to imply or insinuate that someone's what the effort is just a bare minimum, while at the same time you yourself are not even meeting your own standard of what you consider the minimum is? Like, men, we have a minimum, but how often is that bare minimum ever reached? I recently talked to one of my exes, and it is interesting to me. because it was almost like this expectation that I should like care about her feelings right now, today in 2026. While at the same time, it's okay that like, I didn't even ask, but it's just like, I'm assuming she doesn't care about me. So I'm just like, it's interesting. This is true. This is interesting.
That from
He's saying some
society at
things.
large. Men get the same message that teachers hear from weak administrators. Do better. Tolerate more.
Yeah,
And
I've gotten that too. Yeah, do better, improve, tolerate. I've never heard the word tolerated, but man up, quit complaining, all of the same
be a
shit.
quitter. Men may be told to lead in a marriage or a relationship, but if his leadership is described as control or manipulation, then he has responsibility with no authority.
I think that's projection. I got described as that. I got described as controlling and manipulative. And I actually believed that for a long time. Like I was just like, wait, because I'm very easygoing. Like I don't see how it's controlling if I'm like, hey, if my girlfriend wants to go to another country, like Guatemala, for whatever reason, I'm like, yeah, go for it. Here, I'll get your ticket. So have fun. Just let me know when you make it, so I know you're okay. Apparently that's controlling. But anyway, I learned later on in life that no, that was actually just projection. When I started to understand the manipulation tactics that they use. I was raised around mostly just women, and I was lied to essentially. I was led to believe that they are, in fact, decent people, and they're nice and all that kind of stuff. But I have learned that you shouldn't trust anyone who. You shouldn't trust anyone who, in the first thing they do when they wake up in the morning, is put on a new face. You shouldn't trust anyone that lies to themselves. Because if they're willing to lie to themselves, they're willing to lie to you. And here's a fun fact. Any of them that are putting on makeup are lying to themselves. So they are willing to lie to you.
Now let's turn to the collapse of accountability in education. And by that I mean behaviors without consequences. In education, women describe students fighting and breaking rules with little or no consequence, along with parents who challenge teacher and school authority while defending their children's poor behaviors. Some even mention lack of support when kids' problems are escalated to the administrative level. And over time, that does much more than simply ignore the bad behaviors. It actually trains bad behavior and reinforces that it's acceptable. The common theory that we can apply here is...
I know he's talking about teachers and relating that to men, but I kind of want to extend this beyond just teachers and men because this is relevant today. I'm sure you all have noticed, especially if you're in America or even in the West, Europe, UK, here in the United States, even potentially Canada, the increased amount of lawlessness that's happening, the increases in violence and crime that's happening, that's 100% because none of the crimes are punished. Let's take California, for instance. For a long time, you can essentially steal something. You can go to a store, and so long as whatever you stole was under like $1,000 or something like that, nothing will happen. Absolutely nothing will happen. I don't even think it was a misdemeanor. Just let you go. And what that did was, after years of this being the case, is that basically trained people, and they trained them and showed them, hey, like you could do what you want, and if it's illegal, there won't be any consequences. And as people learn that, more and more people are going to do it because, I hate to say it, but a lot of people are basically animals. They're only a few steps removed from a savage, especially in a country where we've allowed people who are not like us into our country. So this isn't just applicable to men and teachers and women. This is damn near anything. This is why if you are someone who reads the Bible, for instance, and you wonder why God seems to be so mean, even though he's described as a merciful God. What I interpret now is that it's the kind of mercy where, you know, he's going to do something and it may not be something that you like. It'll probably be something that you hate, but it'll prevent further pain in the future. Let's go to this situation in America that's happening. I think it would have been more merciful to not allow these people to come, because what's going to happen in the next 3 to 5 years is going to be a lot worse than being deported. If you don't believe me, just go read any history books and just find out how invading populations get handled by the host population when they decide, hey, we're done with this. Just go and read up or you go to an art museum. There are all kinds of works of art that visually depict those types of scenarios. I would be afraid to be in a country that's not my own and not have fully assimilated. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. Let's keep going.
Conditioning, which is the basic principle that.
Oh, my bad. I just realized I got some messages. They're all the same. Yeah, bro. They all run the same software. It's like they all get the same version at the same time. Almost, not all, obviously, but you know, it's almost like they have different channels for deploying their software. They have the beta channel, they have the main channel, they have the early updates, you know, the advanced updates channel. Many of them are on the same channel and they get all their updates at the same time, which is why, you know, for whatever reason, there'll be a new fad or a new trend, and just like that, all of them are doing the same thing. It's actually kind of interesting, bro. Nah, it's not arbitrary code. Arbitrary code would imply that they have some degree of flexibility and creativity. No, it's not that. It's very much a one type of program. It's not arbitrary. It's just like, this is the program, uploaded. Yeah.
Lack thereof shape future behaviors. When a disruptive or combative child's behavior is rewarded or dismissed, it's more likely to happen again. When kids and parents...
Oh, wait, I probably should have read this. So, operant conditioning. Let's see. Voluntary behavior. Actively chosen based on consequences. Okay, wait a minute. All right. I don't know if I understand what this is trying to say. So, voluntary behavior. I don't know what the hyphen means. Actively chosen based on consequences. I'm assuming that the voluntary behavior he's trying to say that those things are chosen based on whatever the consequences may be. So, okay. Consequences come after behavior. Yeah, that's right. Reinforcement or punishment. So those are two options. Main theorist, B.F. Skinner. I don't know who that is. Actually, no, I've heard of him in my psychology class. It's a long time ago. I don't even remember that. Use and behavior modification, rewards and consequences shape learning. Okay.
Dismissed. It's more likely to happen again. When kids and parents' disrespect are met with no meaningful correction from teachers or administrators, both students and parents learn that the behavior produces an outcome that benefits them.
I have another example of that. It's very different from what he just gave, but if you've ever heard the advice, you know, if you should stand up for yourself, like if you're being bullied or something like that, you should stand up for yourself. This is kind of like that. People are going to do to you what you allow them to do.
And as you can imagine, the same pattern plays out clearly in men's relationships. If women's emotional escalation gets her more attention, and if her boundary pushing results in no consequences for men, then her behaviors are being reinforced. Just like in a teaching context, when women's disrespect produces no meaningful consequences for men or society at large, they learn that the behavior produces an outcome that benefits them. From a man's perspective, the fact that conflict simply exists isn't the problem. The problem is that the current relationship landscape has become a behavioral system in which her behaviors are ignored or even rewarded by society. And that's when men stop seeing the relationship as simply difficult and start seeing it as a losing proposal. Now, the fourth common theme that I want to go over is system overload, when caring becomes guilt or shame that's used to keep people trapped. And this is where teachers' experiences become more than just bad student behaviors. More than just difficult classrooms, teachers are dealing with more and more effort that's required to perform their duties. That means everything from
the teachers have been complaining about this ever since COVID lockdowns ended. When students, like they're I don't know, teachers have been complaining about this ever since COVID has ended. That these students are terrible, and that the parents are worse, and that the schools, the principal, the actual school, the facility, the institution, they're not even giving the teachers money to get school supplies. So teachers are spending their own money to get school supplies for children who are not theirs because their own parents refuse to get their children school supplies to go to school. So teachers have been having a tough time for the past 5 years, and they've been very vocal on the internet for that entire time. It's only become more prominent. And in that time period, things have not improved. They've only continued to get worse. We should be afraid for our future. We should be very concerned. You cannot have a first world developed country with an ignorant population. You just can't. Turns out Mother Nature is a thing that is going to continue to do what Mother Nature does. It's a march towards entropy, meaning that we must put labor into making sure that the things that we've built can continue to stand so that we can continue to use it. The problem that I am predicting for the future is we are not going to have the expertise in order to actually maintain a lot of the things that we have today that most of you probably take for granted. That should be concerning when we may not have the ability to take care of ourselves. We are definitely in the death throes of an empire, and none of us have ever been through it. There are only a few people on Earth that have witnessed the fall of a nation, like actually been a part of it. Man, we're in the beginning stages. We're definitely in the beginning stages, and you can tell based off of what politicians are doing. They are basically ravaging the nation's treasure because it seems as if they know that, the writing's on the wall, and they're not necessarily as nationalistic as us because you have multiple passports. You can live anywhere.
And tracking, they have larger class sizes, more students in their classes. They're also dealing with parent hostility and administrative requirements. And they're expected to continue because the children need them. These female teachers report that more work is added to their job requirements, but without extra time or financial compensation to do it.
That almost sounds like a deal that I had to deal with. I'm expected to do all of these things that my grandfather was expected to do, but I am not getting any of the things that my grandfather got. My grandfather got a wife who was loyal. She stayed with him until the day he died. My grandfather got 3 children. My grandfather got obedience. He got a lot of things that I didn't get. Yet, for whatever reason, I'm expected to do all of the things that my grandfather did in the fucking 50s. And I hear this a lot. Oh, we're not in the 50s anymore. Well, shit, we're not in the 50s anymore. All of those gender roles that, they don't apply to women. Well, guess what? This is women and men. We are 2 sides to the same coin. If you can do it, we can do it. Just turns out when we do it, y'all are most affected.
They're buying their own materials. Some of them crying in their cars in the parking lot. And they're feeling
dude, so many, man, that's actually something else that I've noticed. So many of them cry at work. As someone who has never cried at work, I don't understand what is there to cry about at work. Like you're at work, you're going to go into the bathroom and cry. How much of a child must you be? Like, what the fuck? Just gonna go cry like, man, it's so weak.
The school system has turned against them. In fact, let's take this opportunity to give some stats here. RAND's 2025 report on teacher well-being gives us this. Just last year, teachers reported working an average of 49 hours per week. That's nearly 10 hours more than their contracted work week. Additionally, in 2025, teachers' intent to leave their jobs was at 16%. That's roughly 1 in 6 teachers reporting that they're somewhat or very likely to leave their job by the end of the school year.
Oof.
And a 2026 report
You can't have that kind of attrition in something like a school. Here's why. Children need stability. How about that? Maybe we should form our society to value education more than we do. Just maybe. I don't know. Dating a Western woman is just a nagging bill at this point. Maybe. I don't know. I've only dated one girl. Well, I don't really date. We were together for a long time. I think we got together like I was 18. I was 18. And we were together for like 5 years. But it was more like, I'm just like, I'll marry her, I suppose. Obviously, that didn't happen. She's from here. The second one, she's from Asia. Like from Asia. We met in college. It's not just them. And I'm sure you know by now, because you're in the Discord. Like, I've traveled. I've been to a lot of places. And yeah, let's just say that the more you experience, the more you realize that fish are fish, bro. You know, fish taste like fish. It don't really matter what kind of fish. Some fish are slightly different from other fish, but at the end of the day, they're all fucking same, bro. Commodities.
From the Learning Policy Institute adds to the broader turnover issue. That report states that about 1 in 7 public school teachers moves schools or leaves the profession each school year.
That is a horrible attrition rate. 1 in 7. Oh.
And that turnover strains schools, it disrupts student learning, and weakens workforce stability. This is where moral injury plays out. No, I didn't make that up. Moral injury is the psychological and social damage to people's consciousness that occurs when they witness or fail to prevent acts that deeply contradict their own moral beliefs or values. It's characterized by intense guilt, shame, anger, and loss of trust in one's self. Teachers know what children need, including structure, discipline.
Oh, look at that. He said what I said. I know something. Look I'm smart. I know things too.
Of course, also consequences. And they know that children need adults who are allowed to provide that leadership. But if the education system pressures teachers to lower standards or to just keep taking the punches while they keep smiling because it's for the kids, then the teacher is no longer just exhausted. Now she's participating in activities and dilemmas that violate her values. And that's moral injury. And it's the same thing that happens to men when care is used and weaponized as manipulation. Think of it like this. Men are told to stay because commitment is a sign of strength. They're told to communicate because relationships take work. They're told to be patient because she needs to be understood. And be vulnerable because she needs to know that you're emotional.
I have been told all of these things. Just saying. I've been told all of these things. But it was from my mom. Mama, if you're watching, my mama, you lied to me, mama.
Intelligent. Keep trying, guys, because leaving means you're a quitter. But just like teaching, if the relationship is built on compromised authority, lack of accountability, and emotional volatility, that is a perfect storm. And in turn, men's caring is used to keep them trapped. That's the uncomfortable reality.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. I now that I'm older and I understand the manipulation tactics, I know when they're being used. Now, I can't really, I'm not willing to share certain things, but like I'm having some conversation in the background over the past, and it's basically manipulation. And now that I notice it, it's actually kind of funny. I'm kind of going along with it. I know I shouldn't be this way, but you know, I mean, shit. Vindictiveness is one of the dark traits that I inherited from my last relationship from her. So I have that now. So I'm in this mindset of, all right, yeah, I'm gonna just go along with it. Pretend I'm gonna be like, hey, I'll share. And I don't even know if I should say this because she sees that it may not happen. But I'll say it anyway. I don't care. She might be coming here from Singapore. And I was like, yeah. I don't know if that's actually gonna happen when she's here. I might be like, oh, yeah, I'm busy now.
Teachers are told to stay for children's benefits.
Might be busy.
Men are told to stay for women's benefits. In both cases, care is used as a lever for manipulation.
Yeah, that's definitely it. That's what it was for me. Like, she knows that I still care, and she knows that because based off of some questions she's asked. And it's like, oh, now I can use this to try to extort something that I want. It's not the first time. This happened 8 years ago as well. And back then, I didn't understand. I was like, whatever. It was the same kind of circumstance. Didn't hear from her from like 8 months. She had moved back home to Singapore. And like one day out of the blue, I get a phone call. I'm like, man, okay, like shit, you don't respond to my emails, my text messaging. I just ended up just not even doing anything. And then you think you could just call me and I'm gonna answer. But she was right. She was right. And I answer my phone. I just answer my phone generally. Like, must be nice to be able to call someone and know that you'll get an answer. Must be nice. No, as I've said several times, I don't date. I have had 2 relationships. The first person was black. The second person is Singaporean. And after that, I realized that I have way too much to lose because after that second relationship ended, a few months later, I got a check for $2.5 million. And I continued to make $80,000 a month for a while. So that changed me because now I actually have something to lose. And I'm just like, all right, like, no, this other girl we met, I was actually poor. Like literally, I was still in college and I wasn't well off in high school. During college, you know, we ended up becoming home, like all kinds of things, right? So I wasn't where I am today. In fact, to give you an idea of how not in the position I am and how not in the position I was, I remember in 2014, I got laid off in December of 2014 after I had just got back from Africa. I was forced to go to Africa by my company. I was the only black person on the team. I'm also the youngest. And we had a project in Equatorial Guinea. And I don't know, I got voluntold that I'm going to Africa. And I was even told by, his race doesn't matter, but he's not like me. I was actually told by him, you should want to go to Africa. I've actually, yeah, something that happened back in 2014. Anyways, I went out to Africa. I came back. I got laid off. This is during the oil bust that happened in 2014 when the price of oil per barrel went down below 90 or something like that. And because I lost my job and it's not like I had a lot of money. I mean, I was making something, but obviously I was paying for a lot of different things. Yeah, I couldn't pay rent for a while. She paid my rent. And that's not the first time. When we were in college, like when I was still in school, because we actually went to college together for real. I had a meal plan, but because I was not well off, I had to get the standard meal plan. Now, I'm an athletic person. Back then, I actually ate a lot. I was actually very physically active back then. For what it's worth, I'm 6'4". Back then, I was 200, and I think when I was in college, I didn't get above 210. I was trying to, but I was like 207, 210, like 12% body fat. And I competed in a bunch of random different things. So I ate a lot. So that meant that at the end of the year, I often ran out of meal plan, and I relied on all of the girls on my hallmates, to basically feed me. And I think our last year this is my last year when I was living off campus and I was really struggling. She gave me, that's how I ate, was her. She's well off. I was poor. So it's like, after that ended, I'm just like, nah, I'm not willing to get with any female now, because like all they see is, what I can get. And I'm just like, I ain't got shit to give you, because, I do got something to give you, but it ain't gonna be what you want. It's just gonna be what I want.
Let's talk.
That does change. Yeah. Well, I don't date. I don't know how else to say that. I think dating is for the proletariat. Yes, I didn't grow up the way most people do. I don't think dating is for people like me. Now, sure, you can go date. I'm not judging you. You do what you want. But dating is beneath me.
That quitting and understanding that teachers leaving and men checking out are logical consequences. As I mentioned, role strain clarifies what happens when demands are unrealistic. Learned helplessness explains what happens when effort no longer changes outcomes. Operant conditioning shows why bad behavior gets worse and when there are no consequences. Also, as I mentioned, moral injury explains why people don't just get tired, but emotionally and entirely lose faith in whatever role it is.
Dating is I did part of my elective studies in college. I went to a liberal arts school. I am very into sociology and demographics. And I'm sure y'all may have noticed, if you've been watching me for a while, that I'm also into geography and like history of different societies and cultures and shit like that. I'm sure this is like, I just, hold on. Sorry, give me a second. My computer keeps. Let me just take a tilt. It frustrates me when my computers don't work. I'm sorry. All right, it's working now. What's going on? What's going on here? This has been going on for some time. Let's see. I don't understand why what is this? What's making my computer lag? Nothing is going on right now. There's no swap being used. I have a shit ton of memory left. Most of my cores are inactive. All right. Well, let's hope it doesn't happen again. I might need to restart my computer. I haven't actually. When was the last time I restarted this computer? It's not even been up that long. Yeah, I might need to restart my computer. I'm not gonna do it now, but this is annoying me. It's pissing me off, and I'm sorry. It's pissing me off though.
So when women leave classrooms, that's behavioral feedback, not simple labor market stats. And when men check out of dating and relationships, it's much more than just immaturity, fear of commitment, misogyny, porn, video games, or whatever lazy explanation gets thrown around this week. Men quitting is also behavioral feedback. Pew Research reported in 2023 that the share of single Americans looking for a committed relationship or casual dates dropped from 49% in 2019 to 42% in 2022.
So Valentine's Day, this is February 23. For single, all right. So even among adults who are single and looking, not everyone is interested. I wonder if they have a new. Do they have a let's see, Pew Research Center. 2020. Why did it take me to 2020? Is there no one that's newer? Man, it would be dope if they had tags or something like that I can see what is this tagged as, so I can find other similar articles. But I guess that would just make my life too easy. So I had to do it this way. So we'll say Pew Research Center, and we will go to Google. All right. And this is, what is it? So something about single. All right. So single Americans. How about that? So single Americans 2025 or later. All right. 2010. Let's make sure we get 25 in there for real. Okay, it's not an article. Let's see, 2025. This is not even Pew. All right, let's make sure that we are only looking at web. And we'll do Pew. Oh, wait, no, I did do Pew. My bad. I'm tripping. Okay, only 3 research recording viewers. All right, I guess that's the latest research. Yeah, all right. I guess that's the latest. I would like to see an updated result of this. I want to see how it's changed since 2023, because that's 6 years. What am I saying? That's 3 years ago.
That's a drop of 7 points in 3 years, with the decline especially visible among single men.
And it's been accelerating, which is another reason why I want to see what it is today. Because what I noticed is that a lot of this type of talk that's going on, it didn't really start until, like, I don't know when it started, but the first time I saw anything, it was one of my buddies sent me an Instagram something. I don't know if it was something on Instagram, and it was Kevin Samuels. And it was just funny because I used to do this. I grew up in the hood, and one of the things we like to do is have these, we call them chop sessions down here. I don't know what y'all call them wherever you are, but it's basically, we all just like, it's not we all, but it'd be a group of people, and we just talking shit about each other, just saying shit, talking shit to one another. I don't know, I forgot where I was going with that. My bad. It might come back.
On a national level, teachers quitting and men walking away from relationships are both pretty big headlines, as you know. And in both instances, the deeper question is, what conditions make participation no longer worth it? That's the bridge. Teachers are not leaving because they suddenly hate children. Men are not checking out because they suddenly hate women. The common denominator is that they're both responding to roles that demand responsibility without authority and accountability without support. They have and are expected to show care without context and to sacrifice without receiving respect. So with everything that we know about human behavior, what else would we expect? If we remove consequences, bad behavior increases. If we limit authority, responsibility diminishes. If we remove support, commitment becomes self-sacrifice. And if people are shamed or guilted into participating in arrangements that they know are broken, they will eventually quit. So women check out from the teaching profession, and for the exact same reasons men check out from women.
I hope y'all like his framing. I think that's a powerful way to frame this current dynamic that exists. Now, are the group of people who need to hear this going to acknowledge it and digest? Like, are they actually going to like wrestle with these ideas? I don't think so. Just no. I don't think so. Maybe call me
I mentioned
cynic.
at the start, the reason that this comparison is useful is that teaching is a very, very heavily dominated female profession. So many women already understand this experience in one context. They know what it feels like to be disrespected, unsupported, second-guessed, and liable for other people's behaviors.
Have been hit, punched.
Crazy, entitled.
They come back and they do the same thing.
We need our administrators to have our backs.
Like, no wonder I left teaching.
And still be expected to keep caring and to keep trying without sufficient support. My argument is that many men are describing something remarkably similar in dating and relationships, even if women don't recognize it when men.
So far, I'm curious. Do y'all agree or disagree with his take? Is it resonating? Or are you like, it's just like next video?
Report the same experiences. Yet when women leave the classroom, the public is increasingly willing to recognize it as exhaustion, burnout, and even a rational response to an impossible condition. These female teachers get empathy because people understand that the education system is asking too much, giving too little, and then begging teachers to not leave. But when men describe the same experience in dating and relationships, they don't get the same interpretive generosity. Instead, they're defined as avoidant, emotionally available, or bitter. Although, as I mentioned, they're describing the same phenomenon. All of which reveals how selective empathy is applied between the genders. When women leave a broken role, they're lauded by society. But men? Well, that's a different reaction entirely. But why don't women get it? Why don't they understand and make this connection?
Because they don't have to.
Part of the reason women may not make the connection is that people often recognize unreasonableness, if you will, more easily when they are inside the perceived unjust role than when they benefit from the larger system. Female teachers are quick to talk about how destructive it is when students disrespect authority, when parents excuse poor behaviors, and administrators refuse to support them, because she is the one experiencing it. But in dating and relationships, the role position changes, and the same women don't recognize that men are describing the same pattern and how it affects them. People tend to notice burdens when they experience them, and they don't even recognize burdens when somebody else experiences them. So
I think that alone, not recognizing other people's burdens when they experience them, I don't think that alone is a bad thing. I think where it becomes bad is when you purposefully, like you look the other way, like where you're disingenuous about it, like everything is bad faith. That's where I think it's an issue. And that's what they've been engaged in for a long while.
Teacher's experience gives them a familiar emotional reference point. If they can understand why a teacher eventually says, I can't keep doing this, then maybe they'll finally understand why men say the same thing about relationships.
No, I don't buy it. I don't think that'll happen.
Hope.
I think he knows deep down that, yeah, that's the only thing that you can do. You can only hope. And even then, like, don't get your hopes up.
But I think the lesson for men is learn to recognize when social expectations have become a trap or unbearable even. If you're held responsible for the condition of a relationship and your existence in it, but your role is excessively strained, you may be in a losing role. And don't feel bad about leaving or for not participating if that's the case. Ultimately, men who keep tolerating disrespect without accountability are not saving a relationship any more than teachers who keep experiencing contempt without authority is saving a classroom. Men need to learn what teachers are learning the hard way. When a role requires responsibility without authority, accountability without reciprocity, and obligation without support, then leaving is not failure. Sometimes leaving is the most honest response to a system that has already failed.
I like this video. I agree. I've already subscribed. I normally like to subscribe to pretty much anyone. But yeah, that was a good video. I like how he framed that. Yo, what's up, Marshall? I haven't seen you in a minute. What you been up to? You still coding? You still be coding? Let me go ahead and remove this so I can get it out. So I don't have to worry about that anymore. Looks maxing is not about looks. We can do that one. Or we can go into something else. I don't care about looks maxing. Like, I look good. Let's do something else. Let's go to something about funding. How about that? Or we can do the Elon Musk story. Let's do Elon Musk. I want to talk some shit. I want to talk shit.
I'm a guy that's into space. I hope we go to Mars and all that stuff. To see that get turned into a way to transfer wealth from ordinary people who are just trying to save for retirement to people like Elon Musk is...
Oh, this is... Okay, I know what this is about now. I'm like, what is there talking about? Okay. In case you are unaware, SpaceX is planning to IPO, I think this year. And the exchanges, I think NASDAQ, and I think S&P 500, Elon Musk, somehow he has convinced them to change the rules to allow him to list his company without basically without doing the same process that every other company has had to do in the history of the exchange. And it's basically a poison pill. Like, if you have your money in indexes or in mutual funds or ETFs, I want to preface this by saying this is not stock advice. But what I will say is that I have sold out of probably, I don't know the exact percentage, but between 85 and 90% of my positions in S&P or in NASDAQ. Any index that's going to have his stock in there. Generally, I try to avoid indexes because you don't own the underlying shares at all, meaning you don't get the benefits of ownership, which is voting rights, or you actually get your certificates for the share. Like, you don't get any of that. That's all the fund that's managing. It belongs to them. You have nothing. No recourse if anything goes wrong with the company, nothing. Right? So I generally try to avoid ETFs and all that kind of thing. But if you are in an ETF, just be mindful that SpaceX is valued at almost $2 trillion. But when you look at their books, I don't see $2 trillion worth of transactions. I'm not seeing that. I'll leave it at that. This is a wealth transfer, and I imagine this video is going to actually go into detail about that more than I'm about to do, for sure.
Depressing.
SpaceX is going public this month. It could be the biggest IPO in history.
It could also make Elon Musk the world's first trillionaire.
Millions of Americans like you and me.
You know, that would actually be kind of cool. You know? Be history. World's first trillionaire. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. There's so many other news items that can be cool with that first trillionaire in it. You know, world's first trillionaire. Also the first person to get his head taken off. First trillionaire discovers that his $1 trillion doesn't protect him from the billions of people on Earth who may not like him.
Are about to become SpaceX shareholders. We won't buy a single share.
The reason why I described it as a bag holder situation is because it feels
it is a bag holder. They are trying to IPO so all of the early stage investors can cash out, get their billions of dollars for a company that they are valuing at that amount. You know, the financial institution and the company, they are valuing themselves at that. The public has not agreed that this company is worth that. Now that's what the IPO is like. So I might short the stock if I could. I don't know if I can. Now that's too risky. I don't have income right now. That would be dumb. I'm not gonna do that. But like, man, if you could, if obviously you wouldn't be able to short it because it's listing for the first time, but you could technically, you can arrange a situation in which you can engineer a short and make some money. Maybe I still may do that. Make it that way.
Bag holders, IPO valuations. Sounds complicated. It's supposed to. But you don't need a finance degree to understand it. You need 10 minutes. The whole scheme hinges on something you've probably heard of. Index funds. A good chunk of American...
look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Index, yeah. Yes, index funds. Yes. This is why, for the most part, I don't really fuck with index funds. I have some, but if I would, again, not advice. I'll just tell you what I have done. Purchase the stocks yourself. How about that? No, you can look at the index. They all show what they track. You can see how much of each stock they have in the index. You can do whatever you want, weight it how you like. You could just go buy them yourself. Now that does take effort. And of course, that's what they market is. Oh, yeah, you shouldn't have to put any effort in there. You're not a professional. You're just a passive invest. I think passive investing is not the right way to approach if your goal is to become rich or wealthy. If your goal is to live the average American life, which is all right, if that's your goal, hey, that's fine. That's actually good. That means that you have a lower bar to achieve happiness, which I think is actually good. But if your bar for happiness is a little bit higher and you want to live a little bit more comfortably, you're going to need to get a little bit more active in managing your money. I don't know anyone who passively became rich. Like, it would be cool. I would love if I can just be sitting on the toilet taking a shit and all of a sudden I just become rich because I was taking a shit. But unfortunately, I had to work for mine. And yeah, I guess everyone else does too.
Savings are tied to them. You pick a fund, it picks an index, which picks the stocks. You don't think about it. That's the point. Index funds are supposed to be safe. Passive. The rules are the rules. Except, if you look closely, the rules seem like they're being rewritten to make people like Elon Musk fabulously wealthy at everyone else's expense.
They are
Every piece of evidence we have is that the IPO is being engineered to rise very rapidly after it prices and then fall very dramatically after that. That is a recipe for retail investors especially to take large losses.
Here's how the scheme works and what you...
Man, this could be a risky move, but man, some in me is just like, man, let me just take, like, I don't know. I have margin too. Let me just like do 100K and just like, man, if it goes my way, which I think it will, I'll be good for another few years. I kind of want to do it, but again, it's so risky to do and I don't have income. I might actually have to go out and get a job if it doesn't go my way.
Can do about it.
So are there really 3 hours of questions? Or has it? Are you fucking...
I sort of did with Bitcoin back in 2016. I was making crazy money passively, but that was mostly luck. Yeah, it's luck. And that was kind of like a once in a lifetime thing. And I don't know. Did you make money? And when I'm asking make money because a lot of folks, they tend to conflate the value of an account with money that they have, and those are not the same thing. If that makes sense, right? Like, sure, my portfolio could say it's worth X, Y, and Z, but it's not in my bank account. So to me, I'm broke. That's how I look at it. I'm like, man, like, sure, you can say all you want. It's like there's money there, but I'm like, it's not in a way that I can spend it easily. So is it even my money? Even it is my money. I understand that. But if I wanted the actual money, because I don't have the money, like I don't have money, right? Most of my wealth, if you want to call it that, is in like I'm part of the investment class. I'm sorry. That's where I'm at now. So most of my stuff is in like investments and shit. It's not liquid. So I am broke. That being said, if I don't want to be broke, I could sell some of my shares for cash. The problem with doing that is then I have to pay taxes on that. I have to pay capital gains tax on that. And I hate paying taxes. So what I often end up doing is just not even doing I'll just be broke. Fuck it. I'm not paying taxes.
Yeah. I have to be careful about saying things about companies that might go public. You know,
that's never been a problem for you, Elon.
you can't hype companies that might go public.
$1.75 trillion. That's the value Elon Musk has floated for SpaceX when it goes public this.
Okay. 1.75 trillion. That's a lot. 1.75 trillion. Again, when you look at the numbers that are available, they don't indicate this company's worth 1.75 trillion. My neighbor is sending me pictures. He's trying to convince me that I want to buy another Porsche. I guess one of my neighbors, this is a 992.1. This is not the good one. Why is he sending me this one? Let me not share my screen right quick. I'm going to try to show the photo, but I don't want to show anything else with my text messages. So bring it over here. There you go. Yeah. Trying to convince me that I miss my Porsche. I don't miss anything. I'm good. I miss nothing.
More than Walmart. Is it worth that?
SpaceX is a real company. It shoots satellites up in the sky. It provides things like Starlink. It's very impressive.
Oh! I forgot. I'm sorry. I apologize. I forgot to share this. Let me share. Forgot to do that. I need to do that. And I gotta also like it. I also forgot to do that. There we go. Cool.
Engineering company.
That's Robin Wigglesworth, editor at the Financial Times.
There is definitely real business to be done there and real asset value there. The question.
Oh, Casual is like, I turned. Oh, okay. So you liquidated. Okay. Well. Oh man, that means you had to pay income tax. Man. Couldn't be me. What's up? Why can't we see? Oh, okay. Wait, what's going on? Give me a second, y'all. I'm having technical difficulties now. Okay.
Whether it's large as Musk claims it is.
Starting a new job on Monday out of the software retrace. Wait, what? Out of the software retrace. Oh, rat race. Shit sucks. What do you mean? Out of the software rat race shit sucks? I don't understand. What do you mean? Are you doing something that's not software related? And second question, is that a problem? Do you want, I mean, I assume you want to, but like, just how bad do you want to? I'm asking as someone who I've worked in tech my entire career. And as you may have noticed, I have not been working. I'm sure some of y'all who've been following me for a while, y'all know I got laid off 18 months ago. And I was just like, fuck it. Oh, fuck it. I don't care. You know, if someone reaches out to me, they're like, hey, join us, whatever. I would go through the process. And if they want to take me out, maybe I'll join. But I'm cool.
George Perkins advises investors where to put their money. Last year, SpaceX made about $19 billion. most of it from Starlink and government contracts. But a company's market value is partially a bet on what that company will earn in the future.
Correct. Automation and controls engineer. Where are you going to be working at? Are you going to be on a base or in a factory or something like that? I assume you're going to have to be there in person, given that what you're talking about. That's definitely you got to show up to wherever the location is that you're doing the stuff. That's cool. You're doing some stuff. I don't know what I'm doing, really. I don't know what I'm doing. Shit. I have my T venture going. Hopefully that turns into something that can support me. Fortunately, I'm in a position now in my life because I don't really want much in life. Most of the things that I want, they're not things that money can buy, really. So my spending isn't as high as you would expect. Now, I live here, so I'm on the hook for at minimum like $4,500 just for living because of rent and whatever, all the living expenses just for being here. But beyond rent, I don't really spend that much money. I think my discretionary spending is definitely under $2,000 a month. Definitely under. Now I have some installments that I have to pay, like my motorcycle. That was financed. But I opened a new account when I bought the bike and funded that account with not the money that I needed to actually pay it, but because I get interest. I funded it. I just discounted it for the future value based on the present value. And I just put that money in there. And I know that if it just gets auto paid on the schedule, it will turn into the amount of money that I need for the motorcycle. Almost. I had to put a little bit more because my interest rate on the bike was like 7%. It's more than I was expecting. Hey, they were like, oh yeah, banks aren't giving good rates these days. I'm like, sure.
That bet is called a revenue multiple. Facebook went public.
You were laid off in March. Oh, that's not that long ago. That's only a few. You're doing okay. Laid off. Oh, never mind. I'm okay. Never mind. You're finding out that I secretly can't read. You were laid off in March 2025. Okay, so you're not too far after me. I didn't hear from you. Where were you? Where you been at? Applied to so many places as a dev role, multi-round interviews, went nowhere. So fuck it. Yeah, so I did some interviews too. So just about every month I'll do an interview. In every interview I get to the final round. I do the thing, but ultimately they decide to go to another candidate. For the type of stuff that I do, I'm assuming that at my level, yes, there's competition, but it's really more, it's not technical at that point. It's more do you gel well with the team? Do you have a specific skill set that they need? It's that kind of thing, right? So I've done some interviews and yeah, I get very far. I always get to the final rounds, but no offer, except for that one company that I joined very briefly. That shit was a mess. I won't say the name, but if you've been following me, you know what company it is. You can even just go in my previous live streams, you'll see it. But yeah, I was with them for I think 2 or 3 months, and that was a shit show. I started a few weeks later. My boss, the COO, goes on vacation, which is fine. He told me when he was doing the interview process and when they made the offer, he was like, yeah, I'm going to be doing. I was like, all right, sure. Yeah, he got fired the day he came back. No, I think he got fired during his vacation, but they told him when he came back, and it wasn't just him. It was half of my team got fired. This was within 3 weeks of me being there. And then several engineers quit within a month of me being there. And then one of their customers who they had been trying, who they had landed, they were about to lose it. So it was a shit show, bro. So yeah, I haven't worked since then, and I'm like, if someone wants to do some stuff, I'm happy to be a part. But I don't know. I'm like, there's more to life, There's more to life. I've been thinking about going to another place after I get a chance. I started a new business last year, so I'm kind of stuck here for the time being. But the goal is to leave. I believe Marshall and Will got laid off around the same time. Yeah. It was around the same time. But yes, whatever. This is why I normally tell people, if you are working, you should live on a small percentage of what you make. I've often said I'm kind of weird about affordability types of things, where I don't look at affordability as how much money you have. Like, that's a separate thing. It doesn't matter how much money you have. That doesn't mean you can afford it. You know what I mean? Right? Huh? Maybe not. Let's keep going.
10 times its projected revenue. SpaceX is asking for over 50 times.
Oh, see, the fundamentals just don't work. Facebook, even though I can hate on them all day, they print money. Facebook prints money. It's disgusting how much profit they make quarterly. And their revenue multiple on their stock is 11x. Meanwhile, SpaceX, a company, as far as I know, they've never made a profit ever. They're going to trade at 54x. Again, this is not any form of advice, but does this look sustainable? Am I sharing my screen? Am I? Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I am. Cool.
The combination of sheer size and this extreme multiple is.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait, what's going on? Why is this? What the hell? What is? All right, sorry. I'm having technical difficulties again.
Completely impressive.
How come it's not showing my screen when I come here? Okay, well, that fixed it.
The numbers that we know, that is absolutely batshit.
This valuation?
No, it wasn't. The stream was showing something that wasn't actually on the stream. So I can see what y'all see, but I can also see what I'm actually streaming. And what I was streaming, like what was on my screen is not what was streaming. So the background seemed like it had paused. It was still capturing my camera. I just had to change the scene and come back to the scene and change my monitor that is sharing. It just worked now. So now we're back on track.
Seems too good to be true. Some investors may need it to be. In 2022, Elon Musk raised $44 billion and bought Twitter. His backers
raised $44 billion. Man, didn't he have to pay interest on that?
Horowitz, a Saudi prince, the co-founder of Palantir, and Jack Dorsey, the guy who found
Palantir, huh? So we got some Palantir money running through Twitter. I don't use Twitter, so I didn't know Palantir. I knew the other ones, but Palantir, that one's news to me.
Twitter in the first place. Musk renamed it X, and within a year, it's worth less than half he paid. That's a problem. There was also a solution. AI was hot. Musk owned an AI company.
Yep. He merged it, and now he sold it to SpaceX, and then he's gonna sell it to you without you even wanting it. And if you have money in a 401k, an IRA, an index fund, an ETF, consider the ramifications of AI, X, and SpaceX, which are now one company. I'm sure, what's the other company? Starlink? I think they're all part of the same company. Let's just think, what is that going to do to the value of your portfolio, your retirement? It's obvious that our government no longer works for us. They give no fucks about us. They work for the people who've captured them. That's what happens when we exalt capital above everything else. Capital wins. So the people with the money, they lobby for laws that benefit them. They lobby for policies that benefit them. Shit like this is only going to benefit them at your expense. And what's fucked up is that the people who have who are the least sophisticated, who should benefit the most from these ETFs, because they're designed for people who don't necessarily know what they're doing. It's a safer vehicle if you don't want to actually get behind, not get behind, but understand the fundamentals behind investing. That's actually the way that most people have exposure to the stock market here in America. For some people, especially if they're in their 40s, 50s, or 60s, and they've been maxing out their 401k for their career, they probably have $1 million, $2 million in their 401k. Now, what happens if a significant portion of that money goes into SpaceX? Because remember, they're valuing it at 1.75 trillion, which means that it's going to be near the top of that index, and it's probably going to be weighted to have more shares than the smaller cap companies. This is my assumption. Which means that you're likely going to get more exposure to this company, which is a toxic pill. This is actually kind of infuriating. The more that I'm thinking about this now, this is, even though it doesn't affect me directly, the fallout from this is going to affect me indirectly. We're going to have more wealth inequality in this country. I don't like wealth inequality. Even though I'm where I wasn't always where I am. And I don't like wealth inequality. It does not make for a great place to live. Obviously, there's always going to be some level of wealth inequality. I am not a socialist. I'm not someone who thinks that we should all get the same. No, fuck that. Because I produce more than others. I want more because I produce more. Sorry if you disagree. I'm not sorry. In my opinion, I think only losers want shit for free. It's just how I feel.
So we merged X into XAI. No cash changed hands. X investors received XAI stock. But that solution raised another problem.
XAI is a significant money furnace.
Oh, yep.
The solution?
Yep, same thing. Yeah, I'm like, they're losing money. Did y'all even know? So y'all remember a few months ago, maybe it was a year or so ago, Musk and his Grok bullshit with XAI. He built this data center. He bought hundreds or thousands of the highest end NVIDIA GPUs at the time, and he built out this whole thing, and now it's not even being used. He's renting out the data center that he spent billions of dollars to build for XAI, and he's now renting it out to Anthropic, his competitor, who he was talking shit about not that long ago, a few months ago, saying how it was shit and all that kind of stuff. And now all of a sudden it's running on his AI, and now it's the best thing since sliced bread. And poor old Grok has a middling market share. I don't even know if it's 3%. It's pathetic. So he's poured all his money into XAI, saying we're an AI company. And obviously Tesla is not a car company anymore. It's a robot company. This dude he's a mess. Now, I am grateful to Elon Musk. I had a significant amount of shares. It's kind of disgusting how many shares of Tesla I had and what happened when that shit went. Oh my God. So thank you, Elon Musk. But man, I can't. That was like a once in a lifetime. I'm like, hey, thank you. Let me get off while I've made my gains, and I'm going to leave him alone.
Rocket chip company. He uses it to buy XAI. Again, no cash exchanged. 3 companies, 2 mergers, $0 actually paid. Everyone who helped take Twitter private.
I can't answer this question, Casual. Reason being is that, for one, I don't know how many Tesla trucks Tesla has sold. So I don't know what their sales are. I haven't seen those numbers. And honestly, I don't follow it because, as I just said, I sold my position, most of it. I still have 10 shares, down from over 1,000. I still have 10 shares, but I'm out of Tesla, bro. I don't care anymore. I saw it. I'm like, you know what? It popped. In my opinion, it was never worth what it went to. But hey, I paid a tiny amount of money. I bought mine a long time ago. I'm like, you know what? I'm a cash out. I cashed out. And the only thing I kept my 10 shares as a token. It's like, hey, I'm still invested in Tesla, but I don't give a shit. No fucks anymore. I don't even look at Tesla's numbers. They don't matter to me. I also won't be looking at SpaceX's numbers outside of the stream because, again, they don't matter to me. I told you earlier, I was sold out of my positions in SP and NASDAQ. And I don't really have any. I mean, I do have some exposure to like ETS funds, that type of thing, but not funds that are going to have exposure to this. Like I have international investments, and I'll do that through a fund because of reasons. But I have a lot of treasuries and bonds and shit. They don't really give you much, but you know, like it pays an interest rate, and I don't have to worry about my money going away.
Now hold SpaceX shares. Now, SpaceX isn't just a rocket company that sells internet. According to Musk, it's the future. Data centers in space.
If something might predict.
Why do we need data centers? Why do we need data centers? Can someone explain to me, how is a data center going to improve my life? As a 37-year-old man who's had it's almost a 4-decade-long life, where the majority of my life was lived without data centers, I have yet to see how data centers have improved my life in any meaningful way. Why should I care? Like, what's so important about data centers? Like, what do we need them for? We're getting to a point where our literacy rate is regressing. We're getting to the point to where people can't even fucking read. Why do we need data centers? I mean, I know why. Our country is being turned into a prison. Literally. It's being turned into a prison for the past 10, 12 years. It's been going on for a while, and I brought it up to some people, and I'm a conspiracy theorist because I've always been smarter than most of the people around me, and it's always interesting how people who are dumb as fuck seem to always assume they know more than people who are actually well read on certain things. It's like, oh yeah, no. We're creating a prison in this country, and it's obvious. Did y'all know that the border between Mexico and the United States has been federalized? Did y'all know that? That makes me feel a certain kind of way because that border is here in Texas, and how the fuck is the federal government going to federalize land in my state? In any case, what that means is the border, like 50, I think it's like a 50 feet border, like from the wall, and 50 feet from the wall, you cannot be on that. It's been militarized. It's federalized means, by the way. It's basically a military base. So, yeah. And then when you look at all of these data centers, well, where's this data coming from? Is it the flock cameras that they're installing everywhere? Is it all of the digital ID bullshit that they're trying to push on everyone? Is it the digital currency bullshit that they're trying to push on everyone? Is it all of the chat history that Meta is now collecting in your private DMs, in your WhatsApp messages? Is it that they're putting in there? Is it screenshots of your screen and everything that you do? Or is it screenshots of your face because you have a webcam on your computer that you don't have covered and you can't turn on and off via an encoder like me? What exactly are they doing with the data? And what data are they putting there? And who gives them the right to do it? Who owns that data? When I was younger, there was this thing that we used to talk about when I was doing my degree, my graduate studies in machine learning, about data ethics, data sovereignty. At the end of the day, the data that you create is your data. It belongs to you, but for whatever reason, I don't know, people have just been convinced that their data is worthless and they just have to freely give it up to these companies. And they do. They don't read the terms of service. You should read the terms of service to software and services. Sometimes it's helpful. I've heard people ask me questions in the past because some people know that I do music and they're like, oh, why don't you do music videos on YouTube, that kind of stuff. The reason why I will never put my music on YouTube, again, I did that in the past when I first started my YouTube channel damn near 20 years ago, in 2000, literally 20 years ago. When you read the terms of service today, well, it turns out that you grant them a license to your work and that they can use that work in however they see fit. And I'm just like, yeah, no, no thanks, pass.
It's come true. SpaceX will launch more AI than the cumulative amount on Earth of everything else combined.
I see no evidence that it's a viable business opportunity. There are far too many physical challenges with doing this.
But the value has to hold, because so far, no one has been paid. Investor shares are only worth something on paper. To turn paper into cash, SpaceX has to go public. When a company goes public, it opens its doors. Early investors cash out, get paid for the risk they took. Everyone else gets a chance to own a piece of something that used to be off limits. It's called an initial public offering, or IPO for short.
It is a very normal part of a company's evolution and life cycle.
There isn't just Twitter investors here. SpaceX's original investors took a big risk. Peter Thiel, Palantir's other co-founder, Google, and Andreessen Horowitz. But SpaceX's IPO is anything but normal. In a typical IPO, 90% of shares go to institutional investors, pension funds, banks, insurance companies. Regular people get 10%. SpaceX says they're changing that. 30% to ordinary people. Main Street, not Wall Street.
When you see an IPO,
man, you know, sometimes it sucks having a conscience. You know how many times I've been in situations where if I didn't have my principles or like code of ethics that I could have just like, man, sometimes I don't know. I kind of wish that I could just do stuff that I wanted to do, but I can't do it. It is what it is. Oh man, y'all about to get fleeced. I'm about to get fleeced. Oh God, yeah, man, this is not good. 30%. Oh gosh.
Percent to ordinary people. Main Street, not Wall Street.
When you see an IPO give a far larger allocation to ordinary investors, it's usually a sign that they can't get professional investors to buy that.
Right. Man, this is making me anxious. Y'all can't tell this, but my heart is actually beating fast right now. When I saw, I didn't know that they were giving 30% to retail. We need a revolution. Oh my gosh, that's some of you probably still have your grandparents. Okay? Just think about it this way. Or your mother and your father. Maybe they're getting close to retirement. This is going to impact them. It's going to impact older people more than it's going to impact younger people, simply because older people have had more time to accumulate stuff and like purchase share, contribute to their 401ks and all that kind of stuff. So this is going to impact older people more than younger people. And I think the older that you are, assuming that there's a correlation between how old you are and how much money you have in your 401k, right? Now, just think about this. We've had a record run of inflation for the past 6 years. Okay? Everything costs more. We also have an an issue with labor right now. We're experiencing a lot of layoffs. The job market is not good. Tons of ghost jobs and all that kind of crap. Right. So people are already struggling. Interest rates are incredibly high right now. So it's hard to get credit. And now we're going to add one more thing. We're now going to basically raid the retirements of ordinary Americans who are nearing their retirement age, the time when they most need that money. We're now going to allow this corporation to basically steal money from these people. I know some of you all may disagree with me on this, and I'm fine with that. But I think people who facilitate or perpetuate this type of shit, I think they deserve death. I don't think going to prison I don't think that's good enough, because as we've seen, our crooked politicians will just set them free. We need to get to a point where we have real consequences in this country. Financial crimes are real crimes. They impact people. In 2008, me and my family became homeless due to shit like this. Shit actually affects people. This is not good. It's not good. Marshall, I was watching a vid earlier of a guy visiting Bangladesh. The natives had a revolution semi-recently, and the prime minister was booted and sentenced. I thought we could benefit from a revolution, but we can't have one. America is too militarized. No, you're wrong, actually. And I hate to just say that. No, it's very provocative, but I will explain why you're wrong. In every era of history, there have been centers of power that everyone thought were untouchable. Let's go back to, we won't go to Mesopotamia. Let's go to, we'll go to a civilization that I'm sure most people know, ancient Egypt. The pharaohs were god kings. They were gods. They were exalted above humans. They were gods. We don't have pharaohs anymore. We used to have dynasties in, like, here's another, China. All these dynasties, they had emperors and all this kind of shit. Fast forward to today, China does not have an emperor. Most countries in Europe were monarchies. They had kings or queens. Fast forward to today, that shit don't exist. During the time that shit existed, no one thought that it could ever change. That's just what it is. And that is actually the folly of these people, is that they get into these things and they, for whatever reason, they think that, that water doesn't find a way. Water always finds a way. So no, we're not too militarized, because at the end of the day, you have to understand that the military is composed of people. The people who are in our military are American citizens. They are American citizens first. Now, we could have, we may be too far gone where they're already lost, and, they will be willing to turn on, their mothers, their fathers, their brothers, their sisters, their aunts, their uncles, their cousins. But I doubt that anyone in the military is going to be willing to kill their family, because that's what they would have to do if they were to, try to what would they do? That's what they would have to do. So it would be a big problem. And you also have to understand that the current military that we have has never won a war. We have not won a war since the Korean War. That was in the 50s. The people who actually won wars, they are retired. They are in their houses. I doubt that these losers who are in our military now are going to hold up to a population of people guerrillas basically, because I mean, like, you think about it, like every single house, every single window, there could be people with guns aimed at you. And this is something I thought about once during the COVID thing, where I was just like, man, like, because a lot of my friends and neighbors, there's a lot of guns. I'll just say that, shit tons of them. And there was a lot of looting and shit going on, and we were like, oh, we're safe. It's like we got the high ground. It's like, if anybody want to come here, there's ammo here. There's ammo, bro. The block is hot. Yeah, like at the end of the day, the Second Amendment is the thing that protects us from our government. And this is coming from someone who is not a gun nut. I actually don't like guns, believe it or not. But I'm probably going to go buy some and some ammo soon. I think we're going to see some inflation happening. A lot of inflation in the second half of the year due to the war and not being able to get fertilizer. Now, I don't know if y'all know this, but I'm sure you know this, Marshall, because you live on a farm. I think you have a farm, right? I'm sure you know that in order to grow food, you have to first plant the food, and then you wait some time, and then the food grows, and then you pick it up. Well, planting the food happens around this time of year, like during March, April, May. And then we should be getting that food near the fall, except there wasn't fertilizer. So we're going to see food shortages. Yeah, it's about to happen. It's not good.
The price is nuts. And if you can't sell it to professional investors, well, you sell it to unprofessional investors who don't know any better.
If people want to invest in SpaceX's IPO, that's their right. The problem is Musk found a way to make people invest in SpaceX whether they want to or not. How? Index funds.
The index fund is one of the rare examples of the finance industry coming up with something that lines the...
You said plant. What do they normally plant? I'm just curious. I want to get an idea of what shortages we're going to see. So what do they normally plant around you? Yeah, I know cattle is also, that's going to be a thing. And, fuel prices affect that too, because all of the inputs are, like they arrive on a train, on a truck. And when you actually, do the slaughter and all that, it's, again, you have to use a truck to take it to the place. It's, man. Oh my gosh. I'm really pissed off. I know I shouldn't be, but I am. Around me is mostly corn and hay. So that means most likely E95 is going to be become more expensive. We have E95 here. I don't know if other states have it. Maybe I'll show what E95 is. Fuel. Oh man, that's not. Yeah. We're getting to a situation that I don't know what to do. I'm being real. I don't think anyone really knows what to do, but
It's of ordinary people and not Wall Street itself.
An index is a list. Someone decides which companies go on it. A fund is a basket. Someone builds it to mirror the list. When a company gets added to the index, every fund mirroring it has to buy shares. Not because they think it's a good investment, but because the rules require it.
Index funds have both outperformed the vast majority of active managers in every market, in every country over any time frame in the long run.
Thousands of indexes exist. Nearly a third of American stock is tied to one of them.
One of the most popular tracks the NASDAQ 100, the 100 biggest non-financial stocks on the NASDAQ exchange. Under NASDAQ's index rules, SpaceX isn't eligible to be included in the NASDAQ 100. New companies have to wait up to a year. It's called seasoning.
Seasoning a stock is just the process of having it trade publicly for a while. Public markets tend to be unsure of how to handle certain kinds of investments, novel sorts of companies really quickly.
Like a rocket company that makes most of its money providing satellite internet and wants to build AI infrastructure in space. If Musk could change that rule, he could trigger mandatory buying of SpaceX stock by.
Man, as I talk about, it's hard for me not to have this thought. I keep saying I'm not going to do it. It's too risky. But goddamn, I am contemplating. Cause I have access to margin in my investment, in my portfolio. I have access to a lot of margin. I'm just like, you need margin in order to short sell. And I'm just like, man, like maybe I should put this on my calendar so that I'm like mindful of it and I just fucking buy short. I'll be that would be a good way. I could probably make, 25, 50K off 100 grand, maybe. The problem with that though is that I have to pay income tax on that. So I would need to make more than that to make it worth the risk, I guess. I'm over here trying to talk myself out of doing this dumb shit. I'm not gonna do that.
Free fund that tracks the index.
All right, bro.
This
Talk to you later, man.
NASDAQ
Thank you
changed the
for
rules.
hopping in.
This document outlines the proposed changes to the NASDAQ 100 index. The most important, a fast entry rule. If a huge company goes public, it gets into the index in 15 trading days. No seasoning. There was a public comment period.
Yes, pretty much all companies. Typically. Then they go back up. Then they go back up part. No, that's not always true. But in general, yes. The stock normally will drop down, but that's actually warranted in a way. You don't want to leave money on the table, right? So what you do is you want it to be valued at the highest amount. That way you can raise the most money. So it's actually better in a weird way. You have to understand the mechanics of it, but like you actually would prefer to see the stock price go down after an IPO than to see the stock price to go up after the IPO. If the price goes up after the IPO, that's basically money that you, the founding team, or the company, y'all have left that money on the table. That's money that could have went to you, but you didn't value the stock appropriately. So it's actually the stock is actually undervalued, and other people are going to reap those rewards. Whereas if it's overvalued, like sure, it sucks for the people who bought the shares, but in any market, like there's always going to be one side that's looking to win. And in this case, the people who are selling the shares, they win. So for them, it doesn't really matter if the shares go down because like, I don't know if you understand this, but the IPO, like the shares that are being sold are owned by the people who invested in the company. So they are cashing out. So for them, it's like, they want it to be as high as possible. And if it drops, great, because they got their money. But if they do this and then it keeps going up, they're probably going to be pissed because it's like, man, like, yes, I made $100 million, but I could have made $120 million had I, had it been valued right. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully.
Street was for it. They say companies are more mature now, and these changes allow the index to better represent the market. The opposition came from regular investors concerned about buying unproven companies at high prices. But the rule change isn't the goal. The goal is what the rule change enables, a plan with 4 different steps. Like everything, the price of a stock is based on supply and demand. How do you increase the price? 1. Artificial scarcity. Most IPOs offer 15 to 20% of their shares to the public. SpaceX, less than 5.
2. Of those shares, retail investors get 30%, or up to 3 times the normal allocation. Remember, Main Street over Wall Street.
Combined, a bunch of demand and a small supply. That means a higher than normal price. 3. 15 trading days after the IPO, SpaceX enters the NASDAQ 100. Any index fund tracking the NASDAQ 100 now has to buy SpaceX.
You have this wall of money coming from index funds that it has to buy no matter what the price.
turbocharging the price. Step 4, let early investors cash out. There are restrictions on this, a lockup period. Same idea as seasoning. The people who know the most aren't allowed to sell until the market has had time to actually figure out what the stock is worth.
According to SpaceX's own IPO filing, Elon has to wait a year. But some early investors can begin cashing out before the standard 180 days. The people buying as the price rises? Retirement savers, through index funds.
The people selling? If history is any guide, the original SpaceX, Twitter, and XAI investors.
I like to stay optimistic when I can, but the setup there is for some pretty abusive market manipulation. Legal, probably. Ethical, doubtful. And in fact, absolutely not.
None of this works without NASDAQ changing the rules. Musk made sure there was an incentive to do so.
NASDAQ is both an index provider and an exchange.
Ben Schifrin spent 18 years at the Securities and Exchange Commission, which oversees the stock market.
You know, it kind of used to be the case that the exchange, wasn't really supposed to be this for-profit money-making entity, but now it is.
That's a common thing happening these days. Unrelated, I saw some folks here in Houston complaining about a mall here that now charges you to park in the parking lot. That used to be free all of our lives. And this mall is not a nice mall. It's kind of in the hood, but the parking is not free. And I've noticed that happening more and more here in my city where you can't park anywhere for free. It used to be free everywhere. Can't park. I'm noticing that everywhere, like all the restaurants, they have valets now. You can't park your own car. You have to valet. That's just an added cost. Things are not going too well here.
Stock exchanges compete for every major listing. New York and NASDAQ.
For the NASDAQ stock exchange, having SpaceX is a big win. You want big, prestigious tech companies to go public there, and the New York Stock Exchange wants them to go public on the New York Stock Exchange.
SpaceX was the prize. Musk knew it. According to Reuters, Musk conditioned where SpaceX would list on one thing: fast-track SpaceX into their major index.
It's all gravy for NASDAQ.
No,
SpaceX pays NASDAQ to list
it's
their
not.
stock.
It's not for security. It's literally just cash grab. Like if you go to any parking lot in Houston, you'll see, make sure you take all your valuables out. We're not responsible. It doesn't matter if you pay or not. It has nothing to do with security. It's all just to make money. And I wouldn't be surprised if those parking lot companies that own the lots, I wouldn't be surprised if that money, it's not even being circulated here in the city. It's probably owned by some foreigners, like through some shell company or whatever. And they just get payments from American citizens for parking on their own home, in their own home, on their own streets. I don't know if y'all know this, but Chicago doesn't even own their own streets anymore. I think Saudi Arabia owns their streets. So all of the parking that you, like if you park in Chicago anywhere in downtown, all of those fees, they're going to Saudi Arabia. I also heard that our toll, like the tollway that we have here in Houston, all that money goes to another country. Like a lot of things in our country have, like our government has basically turned against us. They have allowed corporations and foreign entities to exploit us Americans to basically siphon off our wealth. And there is going to be a reckoning for it. And I can say that because, you know, like all men, we all have the ability to make things happen. You know, if someone else doesn't do it, you can always be the one to bring change. And like, that's more and more, I'm just like, hey, I'm still here. Maybe that's my purpose.
The real money is somewhere else.
All the data and trading fees that they then sell over time, year after year, to other trading firms, to asset managers.
NASDAQ changed a rule that shapes trillions of dollars in retirement savings. No regulator approved it.
If an index wants to change how it's going to include certain stocks in that particular index, that is not something that has to be approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Upwards of $30 trillion is being directed by a process that's effectively self-regulated.
I think at some point we are going to have to say that these are incredibly influential investment advisors in practice, and they should be regulated and supervised accordingly.
Because it's not just SpaceX or NASDAQ.
You can see how, one index provider getting the ball rolling would perhaps lead other index providers to follow.
You've probably heard of the S&P 500. It's the most powerful index in the world. Bloomberg reported the S&P is considering its own version of what NASDAQ just did. They'd shorten the seasoning period, and they'd let the largest companies in without ever showing a profit. The reason isn't a mystery. OpenAI and Anthropic are both expected to go public this year at massive valuations. Neither is profitable. There's no regulator watching. The only check is the index provider's own internal comment process. NASDAQ just ran one of those. When I asked NASDAQ if the change was made because SpaceX demanded it, and if there's a conflict of interest in being both an exchange and an index provider, NASDAQ never answered the conflict of interest question, but did say that the rule change reflects how markets have evolved. The consultation, they said, followed industry standards. The S&P is running the same playbook.
I want to read what that said. Public markets look fundamentally different than they did a decade ago. Companies are staying private longer and operating with more complex share structures. Index providers across the industry are independently evaluating how their methodologies reflect this new reality. NASDAQ completed an industry standard public consultation on enhancements to the NASDAQ 100 methodology to ensure it continues to meet its stated objective of being representative of 100 of the largest NASDAQ-listed non-financial companies.
Consultation, they said, followed industry standards. The S&P is running the same playbook on the biggest index in the world. Their comment period is open. It closes in early June. Anyone can submit a comment, including you.
Well, there we are. We are fucked. What else is new? Anyway, if y'all have enjoyed today's live stream, I would appreciate, give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel if you want. Leave comments if you like. I might be back tomorrow. We'll see how I feel, but I am about to go out and hang out. So y'all have a good night. I'll see y'all in the future, maybe. Peace.